In a world in which the current kinds of technologies that we have are made and owned by a tiny number of companies, there's a lot of interesting in thinking about what does long-term resilience look like.
I think especially in the tech policy space, we're very used to being in a very reactionary mode of thinking. And what we really want trying to do with this workshop is to create a space where we can move from being oppositional to being propositional.
I'm Rachel Caldica, I run Careful Industries. We're a UK-based research studio. This workshop is part of a project we're doing with Lloyd's Register Foundation, which is looking at what needs to be in place for AI to be adopted safely. In the world of technology, safety means lots of different things, but how we've been looking at it is a foundational national capability.
I'm Urvishya Neja. I am the founder and director of Digital Futures Lab. We're an independent think tank based out of Goa. We've had some of the leading folks from tech policy, public interest technologists, AI startups from across the country come together and think about what desirable AI futures would look like in the Indian context. So yesterday we kicked off with a roundtable discussion on what resilience means, what does resilient infrastructure mean to people, and what do resilient societies mean to people. And then we took some of those learnings and went off into breakout groups and did some systematic scenario building activities where we constructed different future worlds. A world which is preposterous or awful, where we don't want to get to, a business as usual world, and the desirable world. What is the ideal kind of future that we're aiming to get at? And then following that, we've done some backcasting, which is to then think about, okay, given what our desirable future is, what are the steps that we need to take today to be able to get to that future? And similarly, what are some of the things we need to make sure we do not do to avoid the business as usual or to avoid kind of awful future?
Human societies are inherently resilient, and I really hope that resilience can mean that there is greater equity and greater justice, a recognition of mutuality across countries, mutuality across peoples.
We really need to be thinking about really safeguarding the user. Let's not forget that these are socio-technical mechanisms and not just technical mechanisms. For me, that's really at the core of it.
Especially when we talk about AI that's deployed for use cases such as mental health, mental wellness, how do we put in a high bar on ensuring that the advice that is being provided in those situations has a degree of testing and a human in the loop?
So I think actually the most important thing that has come out of this is the idea that language is infrastructure. So the wave of AI that we have now is completely predicated and built on English as a default language.
And there was a very strong sense in the room that business as usual with regard to multilingual AI is actually not only going to exacerbate linguistic inequality, but that linguistic inequality is also going to mean economic inequality, and the implications are immense.
We would want AI systems to be used judiciously, but also owned in a much more democratic fashion if possible.
When I think about resilience, there should never be a single point of failure where a vast amount of applications are at a single point of failure. And I think that's an important problem that we've got to protect against.
So next month, India hosts the India AI Impact Summit. India is the first country in the Global South to be holding this summit, and so it's a very unique opportunity to advance the interests of the Global South. And I hope this workshop can provide important insights into the imaginations of our AI futures.